and welcome to the Motorsport Coaching Podcast, sponsored by MotiV8 Training Management. This is a podcast where we talk to drivers and industry experts to help you maximize your performances on and off the track. Let's get started with today's show. Hey crew, welcome to our weekly Q&A. Hope everyone is keeping well and warm. It's been very cold the last couple of days. We've over here in Australia, we have round 3 of the Australian karting championships coming up this week and near me. And so make sure if you are coming to bring your woolly jackets because it is freezing. Anyway, team, today we are talking about travel as an athlete. I guess the whole month of June, happy 1st of June, is that we're talking about awareness of a driver. So over the next couple of weeks, today we're going to talk about travel. Next week, we're going to talk about sleep, stress, and then recovery, and the importance it plays for athletic performance. Don't forget, this group is around about fitness, nutrition, and mindset as an athlete, specifically for motorsports. And I'm Belinda Risley. For those who I haven't met, and if you haven't listened to the podcast as well, we do have a podcast called Motorsport Coaching Podcast where there's loads of free resources around those topics that can get you started. All right. So as I mentioned, there will be a PDF available after today's live that you can download, and just some tips and strategies around about how to travel safely, especially for our American friends. We know that when you do travel for motorsports over there, you definitely are going over a few time zones to get to your event. So it's important to get your body back into tune in order to get the best out of your body when you are away. So some of the things we talk about is obviously when you are traveling interstate or international is making sure that you are prepared. So preparation is key for effective performance. Again, especially if you are traveling over different time zones or going to different, different states as well. And again, more so for our American peeps. When you are traveling on your travel bag, make sure that you take plenty of water. So hydration is key when you are flying, and also like when you're driving, make sure that you're taking regular stops so that you can get out and stretch because you don't want to get A, dehydrated, or B, lots of cramps. Also make sure that when you are traveling to take your medication with you if you have, and your own snacks. So one of the biggest things is that when people do travel for sports, and again, if you're karting, that could be like up to every single weekend across your nation, that obviously the food requirements can differ, and the type of foods available, especially if you have a specific diet that you adhere to. So make sure that you do take your adequate snacks with you when you are traveling. One of the high risks of traveling is obviously getting illnesses and injuries, especially on flights. So as we know, the air cons and stuff like that, but also not so much on the shorter flights. So anything like short flights are anything under 3 hours. But we know that there's an increase of illnesses thanks to the aircon on those longer haul flights. So make sure, again, especially COVID, that even though you might not have to wear a mask most of the time over here in Australia, you still have to wear a mask on a plane, but it'd be better to be more prepared than less prepared. And so again, making sure that you're wearing a mask, taking that hand sanitizer, all of those things that we should have been doing over the last couple of months, it's just still best practice to continue that when we are traveling, especially for performance, for athletes. When you're going to an event, because last thing you want to do is get sick before you have to go and compete. Other things you need to be mindful of, again, is fatigue. So I know most of us fly out late on Thursday night and fly late home on Sunday night. But really those flights, and again, depending on how far you are flying, is really important for fatigue, okay? So things like late flights, if you've got long delays there with those flights, you could have some sort of anxiety already before going to the event, depending on what type of event it is. It could be your first time driving in this category. It could be the one-off Australian national event. So be mindful of the times that you are actually booking your flights as well, because it does affect your performance the next day with things like your concentration, your alertness, also your ongoing sleep disruptions can be affected can be affected. Again, if you're not sleeping your regular routine, if you're not eating your regular foods, and of course, if you're not training in the same way. So really be mindful of when you are booking flights. I know sometimes we don't have that flexibility due to our other external factors like school or work and stuff like that, but do be mindful of that when you are booking travel, when you're booking your flights or you are going to drive, that you think about the time and, when do you normally go to bed? If you normally go to bed at 9 o'clock, you wouldn't want to be booking an 8 p.m. flight, okay, especially if you've got a three-hour flight ahead of you, because obviously you're going to be behind the 8 ball. So just being more mindful around the type of the flights that you're booking. And then the great thing of jet lag. So again, not so much for those shorter flights, but again, if you're traveling overseas, especially just for an international event for the weekend, you need to be mindful of the jet lag. So we suggest a few days before that you actually travel, start living in that actual time zone, especially if it is just a one-off event. So you want to adjust your meals, you want to adjust your sleep time, even your exercise training, and there's things like with light exposure and the blue lights and things like that can help with your performance and your concentration when you are trying to adjust to the jet lag. But it is a very big factor in performance. Again, it can cause illnesses such as like gastros, any of those kind of anxiety type bugs, if you're not in your normal sync of your normal practice routine of how you go and attend a day-to-day event. And worst case scenario, if you need to, there's also a supplement called melatonin that you can take. And again, just depending on how well you sleep, because we know that if you don't sleep well, and we're going to go a lot more into sleep next week in our Q&As, how that can affect your performance. Again, team, if you've got any questions, please pop them into the question box below and I can get them answered. Or if you're watching this at a later stage, please comment and I'll get back to you. Again, there will be a PDF available for you after today to pick with some of few tips to help you with your travel. Okay, so I mentioned with the international travel, obviously the time zone. So again, for our international friends in America who have to go over a few time zones to get to your event, be mindful of those time zones and again, just try and get your body into that habit before you actually get to that event, especially if you're only going there for a one-off event. International travel may cause mild hypoxia. So what that is that basically if you're flying too much, there could be an absence of enough oxygen in the tissues to sustain your body function. So again, that comes down to long drives as well, that if you're just sitting to one spot for a long period of time and not getting any movement to those muscles, you can get quite uptight and restricted in your movement. So it's good that you keep moving, keep stretching, especially on those long haul flights. And that's another tip, is making sure that you're regularly getting up and stretching those muscles. Obviously this changes into external environment. So if you're in freezing cold Victoria and then you're going up to the Sunshine Coast in Queensland, which is really sunny at the moment. But anyway, if you're going, maybe you're flying over to Singapore for the weekend, be mindful of those, the changing of the environment, so that hot and cold environment or vice versa, the cold to the hot environment. Again, make sure that you've been getting your body prepared for that change of environment a few days prior to the event. We know that with international travel that things that can affect your performance when you're traveling, as obviously the psychological, the physiological, and also your behavioural, can all have that effect on that performance. So making sure that you really have a clear understanding of what that race meeting is all about. For example, like how long are the laps? How many heats have you got? What's the conditions like? What's the food on offering? Where can you go and eat? Even down to your bedding, which we're going to talk about next week again when it comes to sleep. But again, there's so much more around athletic performance than just fitness, nutrition, and mindset. So it's all of these other contributing factors that can affect your performance at the end of the day. We mentioned as well as the food. Okay, so most of us do go away traveling, competing on the weekends, and quite happily compete during the day and then head off to the local pub or the pasta place in the evening. But again, make sure that, again, if you've got any dietary requirements, that you're pre-planning ahead. And that better still, that you're taking your own food with you where you can. And even be mindful of the alcohol. So the different types of alcohol that's available in the countries, in the different states. You don't want to definitely be going out and trying anything new on race weekend. All right, so there's just about 5 or 6 tips, guys, about traveling, about getting your body into tap prior to going to the event. Being mindful about flights, food, hydration, medication, and sleep. Again, there'll be a PDF available for you to download. If you've got any questions, please pop them in before. Don't forget, over on the Motorsport Coaching Podcast, we do have a whole heap of references, again, that you can tap into. Of course, if you've got any questions at any time and you want to book in a free chat, don't hesitate to get in contact around anything fitness, nutrition, and mindset, wellness of a driver. And again, next week we'll be concentrating on sleep, with the whole month of June being wellness of a driver. I hope you enjoyed this quick episode this week, team. Have a fantastic week. Stay safe, stay warm. Good luck if you're racing on the weekend, and I'll see you next Wednesday. Well, thanks everyone for listening to this week's show. I really hope you enjoyed that one as much as I did. Now, remember, all the show notes with the links and the specials mentioned in today's show are available over at motivatetraining.com.au. If you haven't already, I'd really appreciate it if you could head to iTunes or Stitcher, type in Motorsport Coaching, subscribe, and leave us a review. Each week, I'll read them out and you'll go into a monthly draw to win a fantastic prize. If you have any questions or comments, please email us at motivatetraining.com.au or head over to our Facebook page at Motivate to Tea. Until next time, take care.